Okay guys, people want to know how I did this scarf. As you can see, it's kind of got the triangle going a different way, and it's a fairly simple process, so I'm going to show you. I did this on the all-in-one loom using 15 pegs, but for the tutorial I'm actually going to use the Blue Nifty Knitter, and I'm only going to use 8 pegs just to show you the process. So the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to cast on however way you want, whether it's the crochet cast off or the normal E-wrap. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to wrap the 8 pegs. I'm going to do my knit on. And I used a stitch marker to tell me where to stop so that I wouldn't go too far. Now the cool thing about this is the triangles will be as big as many pegs as you include in the process. So keep that in mind. If you want it to be longer, then you're going to use more pegs. Or wider, I should say. So we're going to work our way back. Okay, and now we're going to knit over to lock it in place. And I'm sorry for it being a little blurry. I'm just having to show this in a different way than I normally do. And what it is you want to cast on, you want to have your knit row. Now keep in mind with the Blue Nifty Knitter, or most of the Nifty Knitters, you may need to use 2 strands. But again, for this tutorial, I'm only using 1. But typically I would use 2 when I'm using this loom. Push them all down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another row back and forth. You can choose how many starting rows you want, or you can go right into the process that you'll see me do in a little bit. But first I'm going to do a couple more knit rows just to lock that into place before I show you how to do the process. So let's go ahead and rewrap. This is kind of like laying down like a foundation for it, and then the process itself won't be too bad. So again, you're going to knit over. You'll want a pair of scissors, and if you choose to use 2 different colors, you'll want to have your second color available. Okay. Alright, so push that down. Now I'm just going to go back to my starting. I like to start from my starting peg. You could probably do it from a different peg, but I like to start with my starting peg. Now what we're going to do is, since we want, well, we got to knit over. I don't know if I remember what I'm doing here. So we're knitting over. Now, we've already worked our way all the way to that ending peg, which means we want all the way to our peg number 8. Now, what you're going to do now is, because we already worked our peg number 8 and worked our way back, now what you're going to do, and you can use a stitch marker to move it over, we're only going to work our way to the 7th peg. So I'm going to move my stitch marker over just to remind me where I have to go. Because pretty much what you're doing is you're working your way, kind of decreasing it down till you get back to the starting peg. And I'm not locking it in, I'm just doing it as a visual. Because like I said, I have a kid. She interrupts me sometimes, which is fine. So I like to use stitch markers just to remember where I was in the process. So now, when we work from our starting peg over, we're only going to the 7th peg. So we wrap. You can decide to knit a row and purl a row back and forth. This is just exactly how I did it. I did just knit straight through. So now, as you notice, oops, I lost my loom. I lost my yarn. Okay, let's go back and wrap it. Okay, but again, we're not wrapping this last peg. We're only going to where my yellow stitch marker is. We're only going to number 7 this time. And we're going to knit over. And then you knit over all these other ones. Okay, now what you have to keep in mind is you're going to work your way back to the starting point. But what I like to do is, since I already worked my way to 7, I'm going to move my stitch marker now to let me know that the next time I work my way that way, I'm only going to number 6. So I'm just laying it there for now, but I'm going to work my way back to the starting peg. And I'm going to knit all these over. Okay, so now push them down, and now when we work our way back this way, we're only going to number 6. And again, it's however many pegs you want to include. And then again, you're going to knit over. Or you can, like I said, you can do knit purl, whichever you want to do on those pegs is fine. I'm just showing you it the way that I did it for this scarf. Okay, so we worked our way to 5, so we're going to move the stitch marker over to 4, because the next time we work our way from this way to that way, we're only going to go to that one, or 5, sorry. So now we're going to rewrap to the beginning again. Okay, and do our knit over. Okay, so again, when I work from my starting peg out, I'm only going to where my stitch marker is. So I'm actually going from the first peg, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to my 5th peg now. Oh, come on. Okay, well I forgot to move these down, that's probably why I'm having issues wrapping. Okay, so we're only working to the 5th. Okay, I'm going to knit over. Okay, now we're going to move our peg over because we already worked the 5th, and now we're working our way back to the beginning, so we move that over to let us know that the next time we go that way, we're only going to go there. We rewrap, we knit over, okay, push that down. So now again, we're going to take our working yarn and we're only going to work to where my stitch marker is. So we're kind of like decreasing it in, but we're kind of going out first, and then we're kind of working our way back into the first peg. So again, I'm going to move this over just because I like to visually see where I'm going the next time around. And again, you just wrap all the way back to the beginning. You knit over. Okay, push those down. Again, work your way just to where the stitch marker is. Knit over. Okay, and like I said, I like to move it over when I'm done doing that part so that I don't go past it the next time around. Okay, now I'm only working this peg because that's where my stitch marker is. I knit over, and now I'm back to the beginning because now that I'm moving this over, I just have to work my way back. So you're going to work your way back to that last peg. You're going to knit over. Okay, and then you're going to rewrap, then you're going to keep yourself there. And that's the first part of it. Basically, like I said, the first time I did it, and this is kind of what it looks like on the inside. Doesn't look like much now, but we have to change the color. So now I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to stop for a minute. I'm going to grab my second yarn. I'm going to cut it and attach it to this yarn. So I'll be back in a second. Now what I did is I just simply cut and attached my second working yarn color that I wanted to use. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work from the first peg, and we're going to gradually work our way back out to our last peg. So again, what we're going to do, I'm just going to get the tails out of the way, is I'm going to work myself first to this peg because I'm working my way back out. So I just go like this and I wrap the second peg and then I knit over. Now I can move this over because I'm going to be doing that the next time, but I go back and I wrap to the starting peg and knit over. Push it down a little bit so you have room, and now I'm working my way to where my stitch marker is and knitting over. And again, I like to move this over as I go so that I know when I'm working my way that way how far I'm going to go. But every time you work your way one way, move out of the way, you work your way back to that starting peg. Okay, push it down. Now work your way out to the next stitch marker spot that you have, as you can see, and then we're going to knit over. Again, I like to move this out because the next time I work that way, I'm working to the next peg, Push these down, work your way back to the beginning first. Okay, and then knit over. Okay, push them down. Work your way to this stitch marker down. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay, stop at that stitch marker, knit over, knit over, knit over, knit over. But now I move this over because, like I said, I'm working my way to the other. So we push this down and we work our way back. And we knit over. Push that down. As you can see, it's kind of joining on the back. That's what it's kind of doing on the back, but it's hard to see right now. And again, it's different because I'm only using one strand as well. Back to that one. Knit over. Excuse me. Okay, move this over to the next one we're going to do. Wrap back to the beginning. Knit over. Okay, push that down. Work your way back this way till you get to the stitch marker. Over. And now I just have to move this over because that's my last peg over here. So now we're going to work our way back to the beginning. Okay, push those down. Now work your way back to that last peg. Okay, knit over. Down. Now what that does, as you can see, is it's creating that spot. Now all you have to do now, because like I said, this is what we got for the triangle. That's all we have to do is you're working your way one way, then working your way the other. So now what you're going to do is this is your last peg. You're going to go ahead, cut your yarn. Oops, sorry about that. Where's my other yarn? Go back to the other color you had or whatever color you want to do next. Again, and you're going to tie it on. There might be a different way to do this. I just prefer the tying it on. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're simply going to do the process back to the beginning again. You're going to move your stitch marker over, you're going to do your wrapping, and you're going to work your way back to that side. When you finish that side, you add your other color back in and work your way back. So it's a back and forth kind of motion. So I hope you kind of understand. Like I said, to me it's fairly simple, the idea to get this, and like I said, I'm using one strand so it doesn't look like my other one. But yeah, this is definitely an idea to do. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I was able to explain it pretty good. Like I said, when you end on this peg, we're going to start this way and work our way gradually back to this side. When you finish and get your way back to here, change color and gradually work your way back this way. Okay, I hope this helps.